guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am very excited to announce that I am participating in the Boo to You Readathon that has been hosted every year for quite some time now by Emma the Bookish Princess. I have not done a TBR video in a very long time, and I am so excited because her theme this year is the Haunted Mansion, which is my favorite ride in Disney, and there was no way I could miss on the opportunity to participate in this readathon this year. So the challenge for this readathon is to take a verse from the narration of the Haunted Mansion ride in either Disneyland or Disney World. It's the Grin Gritting Ghosts song, which is my favorite. And I'm excited to share with you guys the books that I have selected for this challenge. I hope I can get to them all in October. And if you are interested in participating, I will leave the link to Emma's announcement video below. And I will also leave a link to the narration of the lyrics for the Haunted Mansion ride. Okay, so if you are not familiar with the Haunted Mansion in the Magic Kingdom, it is the most fabulous ride that they have, in my opinion. You enter this big old creepy house and you're put in a dune buggy and you go throughout the entire mansion, and even though it's a little spooky and creepy, it's also a little bit silly and a little bit fun, and I just absolutely love it. And also, this time of year, the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party is going on, and that is really what Emma portrays in all of her Boo to You readathons, because it is always somehow Disney related. So thank you, Emma, for inspiring me to read lots more this October than I had originally anticipated. All right, so I'm gonna share with you guys the verses from the Haunted Mansion ride that correlate with the books that I have chosen. The first verse is, "Whenever candlelights flicker, where the air is deathly still, that is the time when ghosts are present, practicing their terror with ghoulish delight." And for that line, I chose The Haunting of Brynn Wilder. This book seems like it's going to be about, I think, multiple ghosts. I'm not quite sure yet. So basically there is this woman named Brynn, and she decides to spend the summer in a small town that is very old. So all of the homes are very old, and it's kind of in a time warp. She decides to spend her summer there in this old house, and there's a lot of really weird and creepy things going on when she arrives. One of the rooms is completely closed off, so you're not allowed to go into this one room. She's not quite sure why. And the people that are staying there are a little bit odd, so you're kind of curious as to what's going on with them. And in the back of the book it says, "In this inviting refuge where a century of souls has passed, a mystery begins to swirl. Bad dreams and night whispers lure Brynn to a shuttered room at the end of the hall, a room still heavy with a recent death. And now she's become irresistibly drawn to Dominic, even in the shadow of rumors that wherever he goes, suspicious death follows." So she's meeting some very interesting characters, and I have this really cool Haunted Mansion book by Jason Sorrell that I purchased last year, and I just want to show you the scene from that verse. So you have the endless hall, and if you can see that from the Haunted Mansion, when I read the inside cover of this book, that was the first thing that came to my mind, because even though I am trying to make it correlate with the verse, I also visually know what I'm seeing on the ride, so that kind of is taking part in this as well. So definitely it gives me vibes, like that's how I imagine this hallway that they're speaking of in the book. So my first choice is The Haunting of Brynn Wilder, and this is by Wendy Webb. Okay, the next book that I have chosen for this challenge comes from this verse. "Our library is well stocked with priceless first editions. Only ghost stories, of course." So for this one, I chose this Victorian ghost stories book, and this is also a little nod to Victober, which I have not participated in for quite some time, mostly because the types of books I kind of put aside for the month of October are more spooky books, and not all of them are usually written in the Victorian period. But this book is full of short stories that were written during the Victorian period. They're all about 1850 to 1910 approximately, and there's a whole bunch of stories in here. So I just thought this would be fun for a quick read. Maybe before I go to bed at night, I just want to read something for a little while. This would be a great book to grab. Also, this book has been on my bookshelf for probably 25 years. I can't even tell you how long this book has been sitting on my bookshelf, and I have never picked it up and read any of these stories. So thank you again, Emma, for inspiring me to take some things off my shelf that I have not considered reading. All right, so there's going to be that one. And then the next book that I have chosen for this challenge comes from the verse, "Wizards and witches, wherever you dwell, give us a hint by ringing a bell." And of course, for wizards and witches, I had to pick a witch book because I love reading books about witches. I love the Salem witch trial, all of that stuff. We have been to Salem, so definitely need to read a witchy book around Halloween. So the book that I have chosen is called A Lullaby for Witches, and it's by Hester Fox. So this book is about two women, a history of witchcraft, and a deep-rooted female power that sings across the centuries. So I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a time travel book, which I love, and I think my other book coming up is also somewhat like that. But it says, once there was a young woman from a well-to-do New England family who never quite fit with the drawing rooms and parlors of her kin. Called instead to the tangled woods and cliffs surrounding her family's estate, Margaret Harlowe grew both stranger and more beautiful as she cultivated her uncanny power. 150 years later, Augusta Podos takes a dream job at Harlowe House, the historic home of a wealthy New England family, and it has been turned into a small museum in Massachusetts. When Augusta stumbles upon an oblique reference to a daughter of the Harlowes who has nearly been expunged from the historical record, the mystery is too intriguing to ignore. But as she digs deeper, something sinister unfurls. So I think this is going to be really interesting. You're going to have two different time periods. It looks like you're going to be back in time during the big witch hunt that was going on, and then you're going to be more present time with somebody researching what had happened and maybe kind of stirring things up. So I think it's going to be a really fun book to read for the Boo to You Readathon. All right, so next on my list is taken from the scene with the bride, and of course I have a photo to show you of that scene, the bride in the attic who apparently has murdered all of her husbands. And there she is. So the lyrics for this part of the ride is the bride speaking actually, and she says, "In sickness and in wealth, you may now kiss the bride. We'll live happily ever after, till death do us part. Here comes the bride, as long as we both shall live. For better or for worse, I do, I did." So for that one, I chose The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. And I have to show you guys, I recently went to an Oktoberfest in our town, and look at this beautiful bookmark with real pressed flowers. And I didn't plan this, but look at how perfectly it matches this book. So things like that really make me excited. But anyway, The Lost Apothecary takes place in 18th century London, where there is this secret apothecary shop where apparently all of these women across the city meet up. And I think that basically what's going on is they are purchasing these apothecary jars that actually have poison in them, and they're using it to poison their husbands. So they are killing off their husbands, and there's some really just sinister stuff going on. And then we fast forward to present day, where a woman named Carolyn discovers an aged apothecary vial in the River Thames. At the same time, she is newly grappling with the searing betrayal of her husband's infidelity. So, you know, that's going to be interesting. But when she discovers a link between the vial and London's long unsolved apothecary murders, Carolyn's upended present soon collides with her explosive history in a stunning twist that transcends the barrier of time. So this one also seems like it has a little bit of witchcraft in it, and also is very relevant to the bride scene in the Haunted Mansion, and I just thought it was a perfect fit for that verse in the narration of the Haunted Mansion. Okay, and then finally the last one. So this one is really a little bit of a push, but it's a book that I'm reading anyway for a book club that I'm participating in this month, and it's called In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle, or Searle. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce her last name. It's S-E-R-L-E. And I read a book of hers over the summer. It was called One Italian Summer, and it was so well done. I absolutely loved it. It was a little bit of time travel. It was just really, really heartwarming. Highly recommend. So I was excited to try another one of her books. And this is going to be relevant to the verse, "Now don't close your eyes and don't try to hide, for a silly spook may sit by your side. Shrouded in a daft disguise, they pretend to terrorize. Grim grinning ghosts come out to socialize." And in this book, basically, she is a lawyer. She's living the life, making lots of money, in love with this man, and everything's going great for her. I believe he proposes, and she's just so happy and excited for her future. She goes to bed one night, and she wakes up 5 years later with a completely different man, in a completely different apartment, with a completely different life, and everything is just topsy-turvy, and she doesn't know what's happening. So I don't know, I kind of feel like there's some supernatural elements going on there. So I feel like, especially where it says, "Now don't close your eyes and don't try to hide," she goes to sleep and she wakes up in a completely different life. So I felt like that was relevant to that whole sentence. And the part that says like shrouded in a daft disguise, so her life is like completely different. It's disguised, showing her life in a totally different way. I don't know, I just felt like it kind of fit, so I'm going with it. The book definitely sounds interesting, so I'm excited to read that one as well. So those are all of the books that I have chosen for the Boo to You Readathon 2022. Please let me know in the comments below if you are participating in this. It's always a lot of fun. It really gives me that extra push to read more, which I really need right now. So it's been so much fun participating in this over the last few years. I really, really do enjoy it. Please be sure to check out Emma's channel if you haven't yet, because she's amazing. She has great content over there. She actually just wrote a book of her own about her cat Cymbeline, and I just got the ebook. It's so cute. She did all of the illustrations herself, and it's so charming and adorable, so go ahead and check that out as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you're not subscribed, I would love to have you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.